What's happening, team? Welcome to the Fueling Your Fitness webinar. The idea behind this webinar is to help try and educate you about all things nutrition. We're going to talk about calories. We're going to talk about weight loss. We're going to talk about muscle gain. And we're going to talk about macronutrients, your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. And hopefully, by the end of this, you would have disregarded any bullshit thought that you've been influenced out there by people online. Okay? So that's what this webinar is about. We're going to jump straight into it now. Bit of an introduction first. I want you to know the difference between nutrition and diet. So let's look at both definitions. Nutrition is the process of providing and obtaining the food necessary for health and growth, while diet is a special course of food to which a person restricts themselves to. Remember them two definitions. Now, why do I like to use the word nutrition rather than diet? Well, let's look at diet for a start, okay? Diet, it's linked to limiting, restrictive, it's not sustainable, it's boring as hell, and there's way too much bullshit out there. Think of the amount of times you've heard your friends, your family, or even maybe yourself say that you're going to go on a diet. How long does it usually last? Typically, let's say 7 to 10 days. And those who do go on a diet and they do lose weight from it, they're more than likely just going to hop back on the same nutritional diet that they were on beforehand and end up putting more weight on. Okay, so that's why diet, I'm not a big fan of it. If we look at the word nutrition, it's expansive, it's long-term, it's putting your health first, it's simple science, and there's no Instagram influencers out there. If you talk about how you're going to improve your nutrition rather than you're going to improve your diet, it's going to do a lot more for your headspace. Lean into this. Understanding weight loss. Calories. It's a big word everyone likes to joke around, but what exactly are calories? Well, calories are the amount of energy released when your body breaks down, which is just absorbing and digesting food. The more calories a food has in it, the more energy it provides your body. To understand how to lose weight, we first need to figure out how many calories we need to sustain the current weight we are at. BMR, or basal metabolic rate, just means the number of calories you burn as your body performs basic life-sustaining functions. So eating, breathing, existing. So think if you've done absolutely no exercise through the day, if you're just like sitting there doing nothing all day, your basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories that you burn. And it's calculated by your sex, gender, height, weight, and age. Your BMR can be calculated like this. Then first two, just a bunch of fancy maths. There is an app and there is a website online that you can calculate it by. But if we're just using an example, average male weight, average male height, okay, a typical average man, which unfortunately I am, right, comes to around about 1,840 calories a day. That's your BMR, so that's taking away any exercise. But what about exercise? What about when you start adding things in like exercise, like walking, like moving around? How active we are affects our daily calorie expenditure. The more active we are, the more calories we burn. Walking, cycling, swimming, working, and exercising are all forms of activity that burn calories, added calories onto the basal metabolic rate. Now I've got to talk about something called your TDEE, or your total daily energy expenditure. And this is where we add the BMR and your activity throughout the day to calculate how many calories you need to sustain your current body weight. So your TDE is the total amount of calories necessary to sustain your current body weight. It's estimated by multiplying your BMR by activity level. And what we have here on the right-hand side is a nice little table that will really help you out when it comes to working out what your TDE is. So on the left here, you see you've got activity level. You go from sedentary, which is little to no exercise, where you've got imagine you've got a desk job and you don't really get to the gym that much, to light activity, where you exercise 1 to 3 days a week, moderate activity, where you do 3 to 5 days a week at a more moderate intensity, then heavy activity, when you exercise intensely 6 days a week. And you can see on the right-hand side here, the multiplier increases more and more depending on how active you are. So if you're someone who does excessive activity, intense daily exercise, and a physically demanding job, you're going to be burning a hell of a lot more calories per day than someone who is quite sedentary, even if you're at the same body weight, height, and gender and age. right? Which is quite interesting when you think about it. And it can really make you think about how active you are through the day and why you're not losing weight. Oh, oh no. Weight loss and weight gain are only determined by caloric intake versus caloric expenditure. If you burn more calories than what you take in, weight loss will naturally happen. And there's no two ways about it. Yes, we do get people with some medical conditions. We get people with hypo and hyperthyroidism, where it can be a little bit more complicated and there's a little bit more things in there which revolve around your hormones that you've got to think about. But for the average everyday person, 9 times out of 10, this is going to be the case. All right. Introducing Jim. Jim is looking to lose some weight for his honeymoon later this year. It's a bit of a case study we've got here. He's 42 years old, 95 kilos, and has a BMR of 1,851 calories. He eats roughly 2,500 calories a day, and he is gaining weight. Jim recently started an office job, so that means he's working long hours and doesn't have time for the gym. I bet you've heard that one before. He's got a sedentary lifestyle, doesn't really do much. His total daily energy expenditure, if we put it through the calculator, comes to around about 2,221 calories. So when we think about it, he's eating he's eating more than 250 calories of what his TDE is every single day. And that's why Jim is gaining weight. When you put everything through the calculator, when you look at what he should be eating, what his weight sustaining calorie target is, he's going above that, he's gaining weight. Super simple. He's currently in a calorie surplus. Calorie 100, calories out, 2,221 equals weight gain. Super simple. So what should our hypothetical Jim do? Too many people jump on the diet and a solution for their weight problems. A lot of people say you're going to eat less. In some diets, we restrict ourselves with so much food, with some cutting their calorie intake to extremely low levels. You've seen it before. People say they're going to go on a diet, they go on these Weight Watchers diet, and they're having little to no food whatsoever. And yeah, they might lose all that weight, but it's not really going to help them out in the long run because that leads to lack of energy throughout the day, an unhealthy relationship with food. You stop eating the foods that you enjoy for fear of getting fat. You develop a lot of body dysmorphia and potentially a lot of major health implications can happen due to a lack of vital vitamins and minerals. You're basically malnourishing yourself. We don't need to restrict ourselves of the foods we enjoy. Anyone who tells you to cut your total daily calorie intake down to an insanely low level is not putting your health first. You see bodybuilders do this before they get on stage. You see high-level athletes, fighters do this before they get weighed in for fights. You do not need to do this. You do not need to eat as little food as this. Because what you'll see is, and I can say this because I'm a fighter, the day that you get on the scales and get weighed in for your fight, you are the weakest that you could ever imagine. You feel drained, you feel horrible, you feel like shit. So you shouldn't have to do this in order just to lose a little bit of weight. The solution is to move more. Jim, he lives a sedentary lifestyle. His activity levels are low, and that's what gives him his total daily energy expenditure of 2,221. My recommendation, if Jim was one of my clients, is to first and foremost get moving more, exercise more. If Jim started to increase his exercise levels to just a moderate level of intensity, and if we go back and we can see that's 3 to 5 days of going to the gym, working at a moderate weight, so not too intense, that'll bring his total daily energy expenditure to 2,869. And just like that, he's going to be in a calorie deficit. So just by exercising 3 to 5 times a week at a moderate intensity, he's suddenly losing weight. That's mad when you think about it. Going on to this next bit, we're going to be talking about how food fuels your body. Your body's a machine. You can't kid yourself. Just because you're losing weight doesn't mean that you're any healthier. We can go on a calorie deficit, we can start losing weight, but if we're not eating the right kinds of foods while losing that weight, you're going to be in trouble. I want to talk about something called the fireplace analogy, and this is something that I was taught way back when I used to be in the rugby academy, and this is what really, really helped me understand this a bit more. So I want you to imagine your body as a fireplace. The intensity of the fire is dependent on the quality of the fuel. Quality fuel, or good wood, coal, all that type of stuff, means a healthy flame that burns brighter. You're always full of energy, you're motivated to train, you're less subject to illness, you recover well after intense exercise, and your muscles are prone to grow. Subpar fuel, flame's a bit more dim, you're always feeling tired, you're never feeling motivated, fat builds up internally, you always have aches and pains in the gym, and you're not progressing. What can we say about these two fuels? What's good quality fuel? What's subpar fuel? Think about it. Quality fuel comes with quality food. Your good carbs like your potatoes, your rice, your pasta, your whole grain bread, your quality protein, your stuff like fish, chicken, beef, fruits, veg, nuts, all this type of stuff, whole foods, unprocessed foods is where we're going to get our quality fuel from. And that's what's going to make you feel good, it's what's going to make you look good, and it's what's going to make you perform better inside and outside of the gym. If we compare this to not good quality food that's going to dim your flame. We're talking about stuff like processed meats. We're talking about stuff like sweets, alcohol, fried foods, takeaways, things that have got an excessive amount of fat inside. These are the stuff that's not going to make you feel good. It's not going to make you feel healthy. It's going to make you feel shit. It's going to make you look shit, and you're not going to perform well in the gym if you're having all these processed foods. So closing thoughts. What have you learned today? If you've got any questions, shoot me a message. But one thing I should really say before closing this video is that moderation isn't a bad thing. You shouldn't not have alcohol. You shouldn't not have sweets and chocolates, all the things that you enjoy. But it should only make up around about 10 to 20% of your nutrition. For the rest, the 80, the 90%, it should all be coming from whole foods. It should be coming from quality food sources, good meats, good fats, good carbs, and that's how you want to be living your lifestyle. I've got something called the 70-30 rule or 80-20 rule, however you want to call it, where you eat well, 80% of the time you're eating whole foods, you're getting your food from good quality sources. And then for the other 20%, you can eat whatever the hell you want. And if you stick to that rule going forward, I promise you, you're going to be in a much better position. Thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed that video. Hope you learned something from it as well. I will see you next time.